Darkside. The 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 Darkside. Another cold and lonely rainy day comes to an end. I have to clear my mind before I sleep, or else I tend to close my eyes and realize there's nothing there but light. I need shadow, I need darkness to help me through the night. The Darkside. The Darkside. The Darkside. The Darkside. The Darkside. The Darkside.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Darkside Show. Today we will explore suicide, some facts, and talk about the pros and cons of assisted suicide, and talk a bit about its effects on society. Before we get into that, let's hear from our featured fan, Jay Fubar. He's one of our favorite fans here on the Darkside.
You're not even using a pick. How could you fucking...
Because I'm fucking matching my ear to this.
Yeah, but you need a pick
To do what?
to...
Where's my pick? Oh.
Oh.
Get back on me. I don't like you fucking like it. Worse than lighters and fucking disappear the pics.
They with lighters.
Goody, man. I had brain food, man. I had a fish fry.
You don't do minor.
I was an elves and club slave rider. Hanging round beside a fire. Go there and you must be with me. Get caught and you'll be dealing. That's Hoppers and Elves and Ghost Rider.
That's not awesome.
You should turn more often, motherfucker.
Thank you, Jay. That was really great. Really great singing, by the way. So let's get into some facts about suicide. Suicide claims more lives than war, murder, and natural disasters combined. In 2014, there were 42,773 reported suicide deaths. Suicide is the fourth leading cause of death for adults between the ages of 15 and 64 years of age in the United States. Currently, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States. A person dies by suicide about every 12.3 minutes in the United States. Every day, approximately 117 Americans take their own life. 90% of all people who die by suicide have a diagnosable psychiatric disorder at the time of their death. There are 3.5 male suicides for every female suicide, but 3 times as many females as males attempt suicide. So that means males are apparently more successful at it. 494,164 people visited a hospital for injuries due to self-harm behavior, suggesting that approximately 12 people harmed themselves for every reported death by suicide. Some celebrities who have committed suicide: Kurt Cobain, Robin Williams, and Ernest Hemingway. Here are some of the suicide warning signs and risk factors. There's no single cause for suicide. Suicide most often occurs when stressors exceed current coping abilities of someone suffering from a mental health condition. Depression is the most common condition associated with suicide and is often undiagnosed or undertreated. Conditions like depression, anxiety, and substance problems, especially when unaddressed, increase risk for suicide. I'm sure suicide has touched pretty much anybody's life watching this show right now. Yet it's important to note that most people who actively manage their mental health conditions lead fulfilling lives. Some of the warning signs to look for: something to look out for when concerned that a person may be suicidal is a change in behavior or the presence of entirely new behaviors. This is of sharpest concern if the new or changed behavior is related to a painful event, loss, or change. Most people who take their lives exhibit one or more warning signs, either through what they say or what they do. If a person talks about being a burden to others, feeling trapped, experiencing unbearable pain, having no reason to live, or killing themselves. That's definitely something that you want to address, seeing if you can get them some help. Certain behaviors, increased use of alcohol or drugs, looking for a way to kill themselves, such as searching online for materials or means, acting recklessly, withdrawing from activities, isolating from family and friends, sleeping too much or too little, visiting or calling people to say goodbye, giving away prized possessions, or sometimes, in some cases, aggression. Mood. People who are considering suicide often display one or more of the following moods: depression, loss of interest, rage, irritability, humiliation, or anxiety. Certain risk factors associated with suicide are conditions that increase the chance that the person may try to take their life, are some health factors, mental health conditions such as depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, borderline or antisocial personality disorder, conduct disorders, psychotic disorders or psychotic symptoms in the context of any disorder, or anxiety disorders, substance abuse disorders, or serious or chronic health condition or pain. Some environmental factors that can push people over the edge are stress life events, which may include a death, divorce, or job loss. Prolonged stress factors, which may include harassment, bullying, relationship problems, and unemployment. Access to lethal means, including firearms and drugs. Exposure to another person's suicide, or to graphic or sensationalized accounts of suicide. Some of the historical factors to look for if somebody is at risk for committing suicide are previous suicide attempts or family history of suicide attempts. They may see that as a viable option to get out of the problem that they're in right now. Of course, if you know anybody who has any of these risk factors, there are suicide helplines that you can access. Sometimes contacting your local hospital will also help, or the police. If you know that somebody's in immediate danger, just call 911, have that person checked on. Right now we're going to go to Jim and the Twisted News, and then we'll get into some people that are pro-suicide and for different reasons, and what effect that may have on society. Of course, you feel free to call in with personal experiences or opinions on this subject to Skype at wildchild3969. So now here we go to the Twisted News with our buddy Jim.
Today's topic, gun safety. I thought about this after hearing about a local person who, while cleaning his gun, shot himself in the leg. I can't understand how this could be done, knowing that you have to open the breech in order to clean the gun properly. So I figured I'd give you a few tips on being a responsible gun owner. Always keep the barrel pointed in a safe direction. Know your target and what's behind it. If you have children, make sure gun and ammo are secured where they can't get their hands on it. Never keep a loaded weapon in your home, and never point the barrel at anything you don't intend to kill. With just a little common sense, we can keep shooting sports safe for all involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. That was really a good segment, and one that I hope a lot of people pay attention to, and of course use common sense when using guns. Now, we're talking about suicide, of course. As you know, there are a few states in the United States that allow assisted suicide, and those are sometimes you have to go to court and get a court order to allow it, to allow a doctor to assist you to kill yourself if you have a terminal illness, extreme pain, such things as that. And we're going to talk a bit about assisted suicide, and of course no discussion would be complete without including Dr. Jack Kevorkian. So a little about him. Here are 5 facts about Jack Kevorkian. He was a Michigan pathologist who became internationally known as Dr. Death while helping people kill themselves as he campaigned for legal assisted suicide. Kevorkian was scheduled to be released on Friday from a Michigan prison after serving 8 years for a second-degree murder conviction. He was charged with first-degree murder after his first known assisted suicide, 54-year-old Janet Atkins, on June 4th. Atkins, a middle-aged woman, like most of his clients, died in the back of his rusty Volkswagen van after using Kevorkian's suicide machine. The charges, of course, against him were later dismissed. Kevorkian built that suicide machine, the Mercitron, for $30. It consisted of bottles, chemicals, and tubing to inject deadly drugs. He later used a mask attached to carbon monoxide supply. Both systems let patients trigger their own deaths. Avoiding the risk, Kevorkian would be later convicted of murder. After 4 failed prosecutions, Michigan authorities sent Kevorkian to prison for 10 to 25 years in 1999 for second-degree murder after he videotaped himself giving a lethal cocktail of chemicals to Thomas York, who had the debilitating amyotrophic sclerosis, Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS. The tape was aired on national television. He was well-read and known for using a wide range of quotations when arguing in court. Kevorkian taught himself Japanese and German while in high school during World War II. He also paints and plays the flute, naming his debut album A Very Still Life, the Kevorkian Suite. Although he appealed to leave prison early because of poor health and said he had no long-range plans because he was so ill, Kevorkian said he did not consider himself a candidate for assisted suicide. He told the Detroit News, No, remember, I did not advocate assisted suicide. I only advocated that a person should have the right to an option if he or she, in sound mind, needed and desired it, while in irremediable pain and suffering and terminal. So there are some facts about Jack Kevorkian. Brittany Maynard, one of hundreds of people in 5 states who have taken advantage of the death with dignity laws. Few issues are more personal or divisive than ending a life with a doctor's lethal prescription. The issue has sparked national debate recently after Brittany, a 29-year-old woman who had terminal brain cancer, went public with her decision to end her own life. She did so on Saturday in Oregon. Maynard is one of more than 750 people in Oregon who have ingested a lethal dose of prescription medication since the Death with Dignity Act went into effect in 1997. While Oregon has had an increased participation over the last 16 years and has spurred similar legislation in other states, aid in dying laws remain a lightning rod of contention and deliberation. How do you feel about this? Give us a call and let us know. Advocates say competent patients should have the right to choose how they die if they are already in the process of dying from a terminal illness. I personally happen to agree with this. Opponents counter that such a precedent is ripe for abuse. Yes, but if it's done in the right way, and if these people are actually diagnosed as terminal, and the only thing left in front of them is pain, why not save themselves that? Why not allow them to choose their own death rather than wait for the pain and humiliation that's in front of them? The battle has been shaped over many years. In the 1990s, Jack Kevorkian assisted in the deaths of more than 100 terminally ill people, to much of the public outcry. In 2009, politicians sparred over a provision in the Affordable Care Act concerning end-of-life consultants, called death panels by critics. To help control health care costs, that were implemented. Sorry. So I'd like to know how you feel about this. Do you feel that death with dignity laws are against what we should be doing? Or do you feel that it's every person's right to be able to choose their time of death if they're terminally ill? Right now, we're going to go to Ron's Corner, and then we'll get back to our subject. Thank you. I guess before we go to Ron's Corner, we have Ron calling. Hi, Ron. What do you have to say about this?
Hey, Lily. How you doing today?
Good, good. What do you feel about the death with dignity laws?
Death with dignity? You know what? I believe every person should be able to choose what they want to do with their life. I mean, it could harm some people, but that's their choice.
Do you think that they should go
it's a little selfish on certain ends to think like, this is what I want to do. I'm going to affect X amount of people, but everyone has a choice in life to do whatever they want. So,
yes, but in certain circumstances, especially when it comes to young people, you know, they feel that at this moment in time, their life is not going to get any worse and they want to end it, when 10 years down the line, their life is going to be completely different. And they may have an incredible life that they would have missed out on if they had actually succeeded in killing themselves.
You know what? I could give you a perfect example about that. I went through that when I was a teenager. But you know what? I need to have a shot for you. So here's some Jaeger, Lily.
Okay. I have a little twisted tea myself.
No, but
Here's to you, Ron.
I was a teenager and a young guy, and I mean he's passed away. Rest in peace. But his name's Bo, and things went on in high school, and me and him were friends. But he started to change, and people change, finding out themselves. But he had a night, and him and two guys, they got really drunk, and they all messed around with each other, and they all had hickeys on each other, and like people witnessed this, and it got spread around school, and then friendship started to change with this guy, and you know, people were fuck you, and you're a faggot, you know, a lot of derogatory things, and people wanted to kick his ass because he'd respond back, you know, like, I'm going to defend myself, and you see the bullying going wrong or going along, and I can admit, you know what, like, because I separated myself from him, I had a confrontation with him, and basically at the end of the school year, though, this guy's going to get his ass kicked. He's not a big guy, but you're like, he is getting bullied around, and over that summer, he blew his head off.
Oh, no.
And, you know what, I went to that, and the thing is, though, like, a lot of people that bullied him actually showed up.
Really?
And, yeah. And, I mean, because, you know, I was friends with him, and I felt bad about, like, the confrontation I had with him, but I've seen a lot of people that bullied him around, and they showed up, and you realize, you know, you were so young to just make that decision to take your own life, but,
and who knows where he could have been now had he not made that choice. You know,
that's true, but I think everyone does have that decision, but I think also, you know, a kid can do that, but parents need to be alert.
Maybe he felt he didn't have anybody to go to. Maybe his father had the same attitude as his friends did, and he was afraid to go to him, you know, and say, listen, I did this thing, and this is the result, and now I feel worthless and I have no friends. And he really felt he had nobody in his corner, and that's really sad. And there are a lot of young men and women that feel that way today, that they have nobody in their corner, and feel that this is their only option. And I think that's a failure on society's part. I think that's a failure on parents' part, and I think it's a shame whenever that happens. You know, it's a little different when somebody who's terminally ill, they know they're going to die, and the only thing ahead of them is pain and humiliation of having to you know, be just nothing more than a bag of flesh waiting to die, or somebody who's gone through what your friend did. And, you know, I think it's two different ends of the spectrum. And I think that if somebody's terminally ill and they're going to die, I think letting them choose when they do it is a human, something that shows human compassion. But I think in the respect of teenagers or young people who just feel like nobody's in their corner and their life is just done, I think that's a failure on society's part, personally.
You know what, though? But there's a lot of signs when in a young person, I think, when you know, parents should see signs. I mean, if they're in school, teachers should see signs. But with the whole overview of suicide, everyone has their own choice. And to me, if you're not harming someone else in a motive way with cruelty, and it's just like, you know, I'm out to hurt somebody. Yeah, if someone wants to take their own life, you know what, like, I know it's a sad thing, but I think it should just be respected.
Well, what if a doctor wants to help somebody take their life then?
You know what, if he wants to assist and not make it a bloody mess, we're talking like, you know, this guy's like, I want to blow my head off.
You mean like Kurt Cobain?
Yeah, you know, just anybody. Like, I'm gonna blow my head all over the side of the fucking wall. And they're like, you know, I want to do this and just have it be peaceful, and if it could be quick and just pain free.
It's definitely something to think about, honey. Thank you for calling in.
You have a nice day, Lily.
Okay, bye, Ron.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was really nice to hear from Ron and have him weigh in on this. And there are a lot of people that have differing opinions on this subject. I myself think if somebody's terminally ill, we should allow them to have the end that they choose. On the other hand, if it's somebody who's really in trouble and they have other options, let's try to help them. Now it's time for Ron's Corner.
Hey, 'cause I got high, because I got high, because I
Thanks, Lily. Welcome to another edition of Ron's Corner. And guess what? We're back. Let's talk about something not to say to women. Do not tell a woman she sucks in bed, or she's lazy in bed, and to give more effort. That pisses them off. I found out firsthand. Anyways, this beer tastes really, really, really good. On another note, people are fucking crazy. People shooting people. I don't get that. I mean, I understand their self-defense, but why would you just go randomly shoot people? That's crazy. So, this corner's gonna be over. Back to you, Lily.
Love hearing from Ron. He's a riot. I do hope you enjoyed our discussion today. I know that everybody's got really strong opinions about suicide, and I'm sure there are many of you who suicide has touched your lives. Either you've tried it yourself or you know somebody that has. And I'm really hope that this has helped you, maybe gave you some information, and let you know that you're not alone. Many people have tried it. I myself have tried it. I was very young and felt I had no options. And before we end the show, we have Goat calling in. Hello, Goat. How are you?
Doing pretty good. And yourself today, Miss Lily?
Good. So what do you have to say about suicide, assisted suicide, any of the above?
I have to agree with Ron. Everybody has that choice in life. God knows I battled with those demons of wanting to commit suicide, especially after getting out of the Army and going through 2 divorces. I've tried to commit suicide myself. But when it comes to the ones who want to take their own life medically because they have a uncurable disease, that is their choice. As long as they can make peace with their family, who is anybody to judge and saying that's wrong? They're not the ones that are going to be going through the pain.
Exactly.
Seeing them go downhill. Now, for like the teenagers nowadays that are getting cyberbullied and all that, yes, we should, as Americans, should put more effort into the Medicare system to help the people that do have, I don't want to say it's, I guess they call it a disease, depression and all that. We should be able to put more in our Medicare system to help out those with that.
I am absolutely with you. I think that's a very ignored disease, and I think it really hurts people. And a lot of people are afraid to come forward and say that I'm depressed, because people look at them like, oh, just, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and get out there. And sometimes it's not so easy.
And for the ones that are suffering from depression, that doesn't help.
Nope.
Trust me, when I was going through it, especially after getting the Army the way I did, somebody telling me, oh, lace up your bootstraps, that doesn't help.
No.
I mean, hell, even overseas in Japan, it's called hirokrami. I know I'm saying that wrong, but they do it with honor. They don't look at it as it is a sickness. I guess it goes along with their honor and the way they've grown up. But the way, I don't know, it's a hard subject.
Well, there's also the suicide forest in Japan, where they just go out to the forest and wait to die, or sometimes they hang themselves or commit hara-kiri,
But in a way, if you look at it, yes, it does affect that one individual, but it also, like saying with Kurt Cobain, we'll take him or Robin Williams. Nobody looks on the aspect of their families. How much did that actually do to them?
Yep.
Because honestly, the biggest loss between Kurt Cobain and Robin Williams, I wish it wouldn't have happened to Robin Williams. Kurt Cobain, but that's just me.
Well, his issues were drug addiction. Heroin addiction really had a hold on him, and he didn't see any other options. And as far as Robin Williams, supposedly he suffered from depression for many years. And, it's just a shame, because I think that we lost some really talented people.
Oh, we did, but that was my views on it.
Well, thank you so much, Goat. You have a great day, honey.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, that's everybody's take on suicide. I really hope this episode helped you. And thank you for joining us on the Darkside Show. And join us next Sunday at 4 p.m. We'll be discussing atheists. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
morning hurts my eyes. Cold water hits my face, only get up to see the skies. I raise my head, look up, and I'm surprised the clouds have gone. I'm still in search for darkness, so I got to wait till dawn. The dark side.